Okay. Hi, Greg. How are you?
Good, Douglas. Thank you very much for having me today.
Well, thanks for coming on the show. Nice to see you. Nice to have you here. We're going to be talking about franchises today, and you've got a book out called Real Freedom, which I see behind you there. Looks like it won some awards.
Yeah, in my consulting business, I won some awards for putting the most people into franchising.
Are you kind of the middleman between the actual franchise and the person who's interested in running it?
That's correct, Douglas. What I do is I bring the buyers and sellers together. So I learn a lot about franchises. I work with about 500 different franchises. I learn who they're looking for in a successful franchisee. When my clients come to me, I find out what they're looking for, what they're trying to accomplish, what are their goals, what are their criteria, and then I'm the matchmaker. I bring the two together and I come up with usually 5 or 10 different opportunities for my clients to take a look at.
Okay, is your client is the one who's interested in the franchisee, I guess, right?
Potential franchisee, Douglas, that is correct. The one that's interested in getting into the franchise business itself.
What would you do that they wouldn't be able to do on their own?
Quite a few things. First of all, there are about 4,000 different franchises out there in the US today. So I help narrow that search down a little bit. If you're looking to get into a franchise, you can go out there, but then you've got to determine if that franchise is available in your area. Are they looking for people just like you? What is their criteria for net worth? What is their criteria for background experience? And a little list of other things on there too. I help narrow that search down so you're not constantly clicking through many different franchises trying to figure out which one's the best for you. We work on that together. You tell me your criteria. So Douglas, if you were to come to me, you would tell me this is my criteria. I want to work semi-passive. I want completely passive, or I'm good at full time. This is what I'm looking to invest in the franchise. This is the area that I wanted in. And then I bring franchises back to you that meet your criteria, saving you a whole lot of time. And we have CPAs, we have franchise attorneys, we have funding people, all that to help you with getting your franchise going.
Okay, it seems to me that a franchise is somewhere in between starting your own business from scratch and working as a salaried employee somewhere. Would that be pretty accurate?
Yeah, that's fairly accurate, Douglas. Basically, what you're looking to get out of a franchise is that you don't necessarily have the latest, greatest idea. You want to go into business for yourself, but you'd really like somebody to help you out with it, somebody who's done it before. You start your own business, everything is yours. It's all yours. You're doing it all on your own. You get to determine, your path where you're going. With a franchise, you're not paying the franchise fee. With a franchise, you're paying the franchise fee. You're paying royalties. But we need to look at what are you getting for that. So with a franchise, what you really want is you want to get to where you want to be going 2 to 3 years quicker than if you were to do it all by yourself.
From what I remember, and correct me if this is inaccurate, but McDonald's is the most expensive one to get into. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that's still correct today. That's a pretty big building, usually a big standalone building. There are a few others, our units franchises where it's kind of like a pods, where you need about a 10,000 square foot space. That's pretty expensive too. That's a big investment on that. But when you're looking at the brick and mortar type ones, which everybody thinks about, those can be quite expensive.
Okay, you said brick and mortar. Are there online franchises these days?
Two different kinds, Douglas, that we take a look at. There's not a whole lot of online ones, but there are a few that are kind of online. What we have is the brick and mortar, which is generally $250,000, $300,000 investment on up. You build it and they will come, is a general theme. Then we have the services industry, which is one that people don't always think about because you don't see it all the time because the clients only know you exist when they need you. So we'll be looking at senior care, we'll be looking at tutoring, we'll be looking at restoration services, we'll be looking at home services. And those are about $150,000 investment, give or take on those.
If I wanted to start a franchise, the investment money, you said 250, 300,000. Is that primarily just to build the actual building, or where does that money go? What's it for?
Correct, Douglas. For a brick and mortar franchise, when you're looking at the total investment, that $250,000, $300,000 is going to be for the build out of that business. When you're looking at just getting into a franchise itself, a franchise fee, a one-time franchise fee, is generally right around $50,000. And then you've got your ongoing royalties, which keeps that franchise in business somewhere between 5 and 10,000. So when you're looking at that brick and mortar, about 50,000 of it's a franchise fee. The rest of it is for whatever kind of build out that you're going to need. With the services industry, you don't need the build out. You can work from home, or you have a small office somewhere, so you don't have that much of an investment.
What about buying a franchise of somebody who's already got the building?
We do have franchise resales on a regular basis out there. How that works is that once you've got your franchise built up, you generally have a 5 or 10 year agreement with the franchisor. You don't have to stay there for the whole 5 or 10 years. Once you get that business built up, you can sell it. You let the franchise know you're going to sell it. What usually happens is that the franchisor will tell other franchisees in the area that you have that business for sale, and you usually get that picked up, especially if you're doing well, by one of the other franchisees in that area itself. If no other franchisee wants it, then the franchisors tell us consultants about it, and then we put them up for sale, or they put them on one of our sites. We don't get a whole lot of real good ones. We occasionally do, because most of the time other franchisees will buy them up pretty quick.
What are the advantages of somebody doing a franchise versus being a salaried employee?
One of the main things that people come to me and they want is a little bit more schedule flexibility on that versus being a salary employee versus being a business owner, a franchise owner. On that, they're really looking to get away from those, whatever, how many hours a week that you put in, 40, 50, 60 hours a week that you put in as a salaried employee. So not only is there the schedule flexibility time, but you are more in control of your destiny, how much money you can make on that. Usually within a salaried employee organization, they usually have caps. I mean, you can work your way up in the business, but you're really dependent on the corporation itself and what kind of caps they have for you. With a franchise business or getting into business for yourself, the sky's the limit, pretty much. It just depends on what you want to do and how much effort you want to put into it to make that business grow. Plus the fact that now, once you start running your own business, you've got your own, the tax write-off and benefits are there as well, where you don't have that sort of thing with a salaried employee. So really, what my people want is more schedule flexibility, and they want the ability to scale and grow that business to as big as they want it to. Some don't want to grow it too big. Some just want the schedule flexibility, and they're good just working a few hours a day, bringing in a few dollars a month. Some want to build an empire.
How much control does the franchisee have over how the business is run? Or is that pretty much dictated to them by the franchisor?
It is not completely dictated to them by the franchisors. There's quite a bit of leeway that you can do, and you can work in with that one. You get into a franchise because they have that plan out there for you. They have those processes and procedures to follow. That's why you get into a franchise. That's what you're paying for in there. If you want to go outside those limits, franchisors are very amenable to that for the most part, depending on the franchise system itself. I had a lady that got into a tutoring franchise, and over in the Las Vegas Valley, they had never hit up any of the hotels, motels in that area, and she thought maybe that was a good idea to start hitting up the hotels and motels in that area to try and drum up some business. It didn't work out for her, but the franchise allowed her to do that. They said, if you want to do that, yeah, give it a shot. We've never tried it before. It's not our business model, but if you want to try that, you go right ahead. She tried it, didn't work out. She went back to their model, and everything was fine. So you do have some leeway depending on the franchise on how you run your business.
We've got just about 2 minutes left. What are the risks for the franchisee, potential risks?
The risk of those is that you want to make certain that that franchise is going to be around for a while. So you may take a risk. So that's one of the things I ask my people, how risky are you? If you don't want to be very risky on that, and you want to make certain that that franchise is going to be around for a while, then make sure it has been around for a while. So with emerging brands of franchises, your risk is that they don't make it quite as up to the top as some franchises do. About 5% of the franchises in the U.S. make it to 100 franchisees or more. So what you'll want to be looking at if you want to reduce your risk is go with the franchises that have 100 or more franchisees. A lot of my people like emerging brands because they want to be there when it takes off. So you're going to run into a little more risky that the business doesn't take off at all. If it's a hot new topic or something like that, there's a little risk there. If you want to reduce your risk, go with essential services.
And the risk would be what? You're going to lose the franchise fee. For the brick and mortar ones, the building, do you own the building outright, even if the
Generally
franchise
speaking,
fails?
no, Douglas. Everything is leased for the most part on that. So your biggest risk there is that you're stuck with a lease for a little while on that one, or the franchise goes out of business and now you've got nobody to help you out. So then you're on your own after that. That would be the risk on those.
Okay, but I mean, would the franchisor take the building back?
No, generally speaking, the franchisor never owns the building itself, nor do you. You're just going to do a lease on it. I've had people that they want to buy the space that they go into it. Some of my automotive people have liked to buy the actual property itself, so they own the property. But generally speaking, no. Everything is leased out. Nothing is outright purchased. It keeps your investment level down.
All right. Well, I think on that, we're going to have to wind this down. Thanks so much for coming on. The book is called Real Freedom. The book is out now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the last question is, do you have a website that you want to give out?
Yeah, if you need to get a hold of me, easy enough. Just go to franchisemaven.com. That's franchise, MAV as in Victor, EN.com, or email me at greg@franchisemaven.com. If you email me your address, I will mail you a copy of my book.
Okay, great. Well, Greg, thank you for coming on the show. It was nice meeting you, and best of luck with your consulting and the book.
Appreciate you having me today, Douglas. Thank you.